Hello guys, it's your boy Winswepe, and in today's tutorials we are going to build a mango disease detection app. Yes, it's an image classification app that we are going to build, and the app will be able to classify a gourmet, we have healthy, and a sooty mode. So let's see how the app works and how we'll be able to build it from scratch ourselves. You can choose to pick the image from the gallery, or you can choose to take an image in case, let's say, you are in the farm. But for this test case, we are going to use the gallery to do it, and we will get to witness the accuracy and everything. So let's do it. Let's pick the image from the gallery. Let me first pick this image. Yes, as you can see, it's sooty mode and the accuracy is 100%. We have this one also. Yes, it's healthy, and the picture also tells, and the accuracy is also 100%. Well, let me using Flutter and TfLite. So we have the girl made. So let's do this. Let's build this app from scratch using Flutter, and we'll be using teachable machine to train our model. So first, let's open the browser and let's search for teachable machine. This one. It's now time for us to train our model. So let's get to the site here. Yeah. So we will then pick the get started. So as you can see, it's a very beautiful and wonderful site if you want to train your own ML model. We are going to do image project. We have audio project and what? A post project, postnet project. So we'll be doing the image project. Let's pick this one. And let's pick the standard. So we can choose to record using our webcam or upload the image also. In this case, we are not going to use the webcam, we are going to use the upload one. So let me pick the upload, and we will upload a file. Let's wait. From here, let me then navigate to where my images are. TfLite. So here is the data set. So the first class will be this gal. So let me copy everything and let me open it with. So yes, we now have our images here. Let's do it once again. And here what I'll do is I should have copied the name first. So let me bring in the name. Let me copy it and close. So I have the name here. So we'll have our second class too. The second class will be for the healthy. Let me copy the healthy and let's highlight everything, open, and change the name to healthy. So let me add another class again. We are going to work with only 3 classes. This one will be the sooty mode. Let me copy this one, highlight everything, and let's open it. So I'll change the name to what? The sooty mode. So now we now have all our data. So what I'll do is I'll click on the train model section. Let's wait for a few minutes for the model to train, and then we will continue from there. It trained very fast. Now have the model being trained, so we can now test it and see. So let's pick a file, right, and test our model. This one is the sooty mode, so I'm guessing we should get a sooty mode. Yes, the accuracy is 100%. And let's do another test again. Let's go for the healthy this time. Let's pick any image. Yes, and you can choose to pick any image, any type of image which the model haven't seen yet, and I guess you get the right answer too as well. So let's test it with this image too, and let's see. Yes, everything is working correctly as expected. So what I have to do is I can now export my model. So we can choose to export it in a TensorFlow JS format or TensorFlow format. This one will be using keras, like in a Python way of doing things. But we need the TF Lite. So what we'll do is we'll come to TensorFlow Lite. You leave it at float point. So we'll just leave everything as default and we will click on download model. So we wait for the model to finish converting, then we will continue from there. Yeah, I guess our model has finished converting and we now have it here. Yes. So this is our converted TF Lite model. So let's extract it and let's see the information that we have inside. So let me do extract here. And yes, we have our labels and our TF Lite. So let's open the label and see. As you can see, we have sweetie mode, the healthy, and the gal mode. So let's get into VS Code and let's start creating our Flutter app using the TF Lite model. So it's now time for us to code the app. This is just a dummy Flutter app. It's just the template, nothing new here. And I just want to keep the app very simple. So I'm not going to create any file in addition. You make good use of this main.dat file. With this, let's delete all the comments and let's delete this my home page widget too as well. Let's delete this one so you have the home page to be empty like this. So we are coming to create our own stateful widget, which will be my home page like this, and we will change this one to be scaffold, so we'll get rid of the constant. And with this scaffold, you give it an app bar, and you give it a title to be text, which will be mango disease detection, and let's give it a constant to get rid of the warning. So let's save and do a hot reload. Yes, this is now the changes that we have. We are not going to decorate the app bar, we'll just leave it this way. Let's give it a body and let's give it a column widget. which you first have a cons hot size box like this. You give it a height of 12. Just below this size box, you have our card too. And with this card widget, what we do is we give it an elevation to be 20, and we will give it a clip behavior to be clip hard edge like this, and you give it a child size box 300. Let's give it a child switch to be a single child scroll view. Within this single child scroll view, let's call the child parameter and let's give it another column widget, which you give it a few children. The first one will be a size box again, so size box. This one will be of height 18, and just below this size box, let's create a container. So let's give it a container, and let's give this container a height of 280 and a width of 280 like this. So with this, let's give it a decoration, which will be box decoration, and we'll give it a color of colors white, and we'll give it a border radius to be border radius dot circular, which will give it 12 to be the border radius. I guess this one is border radius like this, which will be 12. We are going to make use of an image, so let's bring in image, and this one will be const. So this one will be the created image, this one, and we'll pick the image from the asset, so it will be asset image. And since we don't have any image in our asset, what we do is we'll come back to the pop spark.yaml, and I'm going to create a file. I'll make sure to click on the pop spark.yaml, then I'll create a new file, which will be assets with an S like this. So I'll get to this section and I'll make sure to uncomment the assets and this one. So I'll just replace this one with the asset and delete the rest. So we have this. Let's do Ctrl+S to save, and let's close the pop spark.yaml. So what I'll do is I'm bringing in an image into my asset, into this folder. Let's wait for the image to load. So this image, I just got it from the internet, is very easy, and you can choose to use any image that you wishes to use. We can now locate the image and we'll pass in the access slash upload the name of the image, which is upload.jpg like this, and we can save to witness the changes live and color. So we now have it this way. So let's bring in a few widget. Let's wrap this container, the body property. Let's give it a let's wrap this column with a center widget, and also let's give it another widget. Also, let's wrap with widget. This one will be a single child scroll view. So I first wrap it with a center widget and then a single child scroll view. So let's save and let's witness the changes. Yeah. So we now have it in the center. So just below this box decoration, let's give it a child, which will be an empty text widget. Let me make it constant to const like this. Let's leave it this way. So let me bring in a size box also. Size box like this. And let me give it a height of 12 and let's save. So what actually the size box is doing is it is just giving us space in between our widgets. So we are just adding a little bit space. You can choose to use a padding also, but I prefer using this size box because of the way that I'm building the UI. So you can choose to build it any style that you want. So with this, you can now have a padding also, which will give it padding edge insect all to be 8.0. Let's give it a child column. We will pass in our children. The first child property for this widget will be a text widget. Text, which I will call it labels. It will be the label, and let me bring a constant here just to get rid of the warning. And with this label, let's add a few decoration to it. Let's style it a little bit. Let's give it a text style to be a text style, and let's give it a font size to be 18 like this. So let's save and witness the changes. So I have our label to be this one, and let me give it a font weight. So font weight to be font weight dot bold, this one. So we can now see the boldness, and let me bring in this, let me copy this same text widget and paste it here. So this one will also be label, and let's change this label to be the accuracy. So the accuracy is, and let's give it, let's say 90%. And here we can get rid of the font weight, and let's leave it this way. So without the size box, it seems our text is a little bit crumbling here. So let's give it a size box. Size box, and let's give it a height of 12. Let me bring comma and let's save. So we now have a space in between because of the size box. So let's give it one last size box. I'll copy this size box also, and I'll bring it right after the text widget like this. So let me save it, and we also have a little bit space here. So just below our card widget, so here, what I'll do is I'll bring another size box, and I will make the height to be 8, and we are coming to build our buttons, right? So we are going to use an elevated button, which you have our on press. Let's leave it empty for now, and let's give it a child to be a text widget, which will be take photo. So I guess we now have our button here. So for me to start this, I'll call the style parameter, and I'll give it elevated button dot style form, which I'll pass in a padding to be equals to edge insert. Let's change this one to be symmetrical like this, and let's give it a horizontal to be 30, and vertical also to be 10. So I guess this is all that we need from here, and so let's give it a shape also, which will be round this one, and let's give it a border radius to be border radius dot circular, and let me pass in 13. So let's see, yeah, we now have a little bit change in here. So let me, and also let's give it a foreground color, which will be colors dot black. So let's save, and our color is now black. So I guess this is all that we have to do for the button. And so let's now copy this elevated button and change the text here to be pick from hot gallery. So pick from gallery like this, and let's save it. So let's bring in a little bit space, which will be also a size box, and you give it a height of 8. So let's save, and yeah, we now have a little bit space in between. So what I'll do here is I'll bring constant to get rid of this one, and constant like this, constant, and I'll change this one to be constant as well. So we now have our UI. It's now time for us to bring in our packages, and we'll be using image picker. So let me bring in the image picker, and also Flutter TF Lite, which is also this one. So I'll bring it right below the Cupertino icons, and I'll do Control plus S to save, which will bring in the packages. So let's open our browser and let's search for pub.dev like this, which will bring us to this site. And from here, we search for image image picker, right? Which I already have here. And I'll press on the enter key. So we'll be using not this one, but this one. So I already have this package inside my app. So what we are coming to do here is we are just coming to look at how we can create or how we can use this package in our app. So I'll scroll down up to this section, and what I'll do is we have this one for the camera, and sorry, we have this one for the gallery and this one for the camera. So let me pick the gallery first. So I'm going to copy from image picker up to this section, just these 3 lines. And this is the image picker that I'm talking about. So I'll come back to my project, and right on top here, I'm going to create a little function which I will call pick image. Pick image. And let me paste this one here. So this one will be gallery, right? Pick image gallery. Capital G, right? And let's add an async here. Async, because we have an await here, and let's bring in the image picker package. Therefore, from here I can choose package image picker, and this is it. So this is the package, and now we only have a warning. We only have a warning because this variable have not been used yet. Before we use the image picker, let's make a file here. So we will need a file, and we make sure to import that .io. Let me show you, not .html. Make sure that the import is this one, and which I'll call it file. So which I'll call it file path. And what I'll do is inside here, I'll check if this image, right, is equals to null. So is this image null? Sorry, if image is equals to null. Therefore, what I'll do is I'll return like this, and if it's not equals to null, then I'll create another variable which I'll call image map, which I'll give it a file, and it will be image dot path like this. And then I'll make sure to bring in a set state. Therefore, I'll set the file path to be equals to image map, like so. And down here, what I'll do is I'll check if the file path is equals to null. Therefore, I'll return the empty text. Therefore, I return this one. And if it's not equals to null, And what I'll do is I'll display the image. I'll replace it with this upload image. So let's see it. So it will be file path equals null. Therefore this one else image.file. Then I'll pass in the file path. And I'll make sure to force unwrap it. And I'll give it to be box dot face dot fill, which is this one. So I'll save it. So what I did was I made sure that I stopped the app and I ran it once again. And we can now test that functionality. So for us to test it, let's come to our button where we have the pick from gallery. So we are going to pass pick image from gallery and let's save it. So I can now click on pick from gallery. So yes, so have you seen that we have, so have you now seen that we can now display the image inside our app? So we have replaced it with the upload image. We now have our app working as planned. So let's bring in the TF Lite and let's see what we can also do. So we open the browser and let me change this one to be, let me delete everything and let's search for Flutter TF Lite, which is this one. And let's press enter. So we will not use this one. I'll create a video where we use this one, but for now let's use this one, this Flutter TF Lite. So make sure that it's this one. And so let me copy this one and let me bring it inside my app. And what I'll do is I'll create a new function which will be future void. And let me call this one in it. And let me call this one T underscore TF Lite init. Like this, and I'll make sure to paste what I copied inside this function. So I'll add an async to it to get rid of the warning, and I'll make sure to also import the TF Lite. So this one be import package TF Lite. This is it. And let me expand it and let me bring this one to get rid of the warnings. So we don't have our model inside our app yet. So let me come back to this section and let me bring in the model. So I'll highlight the label and the model, which I'll drag and drop inside my app. And I'll change the name to be, so this name, I'll make sure that I will type exactly this one, and the label too is the same as label. So we'll leave everything like this, and let me bring in an init state. So here in this init state, we will call our underscore TF Lite is TF Lite, right? Like this. TF Lite and TF Lite init. So I'll make sure to call my TF Lite init inside our init state. And let's dispose it. So we will dispose it by calling, this one will be TF Lite dot close. So we will close the connection after we have stopped using it, and we can find that one too in the documentation. So this is it. It's telling us to close it. So yes, we now have our model in our app, and what we have to do is, from here we are going to do an image detection. So we are running it on an image, and I'll copy this recognition, which I'll bring it here. So we now have this recognition, and I'll change this part to be image dots. So we now have our image part, and what I'll do is I'll make sure to check if the recognition is equals to null. So if recognition equals null, right? So this one too we will return. So if the recognition is equals to null, let's return it. And I guess let me do it this way so that we can print something to the console. So let's return it, and let's print recognition is what is null, like this. So let's print this thing to the console if in case the recognition is null. And we can also print the recognitions. So yes, we can now test our app to see if everything is working as planned. For it to work, what I did was I stopped the app and I rerun it again, because we just added new files inside our asset, and we are also referencing the files here. So we need to stop the app and rerun it once again. But let me bring in developer, and with this developer, let me bring in dev tools so that we will get rid of the print. And dev tools dot log, so we use the log here, and let me use the log here too as well. So this one to string. Let's do a hot reload and let's test the app to see. Let me first pick this. And yes, as we can see, we can now see our log here. We have our confidence level to be 0.999, and we have the label to be that smoothie sooty muddy. So let's do a little bit changes inside our labels here. Let's get rid of the 0, the 1, and the 2, and let's save this file. And how can we get to the confidence and the label? What I'll do is, let me copy this confidence and let me create a variable here, which will be double confidence, like this. which I'll give it 0.0, and I'll create another variable too, which will also be label. So this label, let me copy it, and let's do string label, which will also be an empty string like this. And I'll make sure to set a state. So within this set state, I'll first pick the confidence. So what I'll do is I'll pass in my recognitions, and here will be confidence, sorry. So here will be confidence like this, and I'm multiplying it by 100. So I now have my confidence, and let's also do similar thing for the labels. So the label will also be recognitions and label. Then to what? To string like this. So I now have my recognition and also have my label. So I'll scroll down here where we have the label. I'll make sure to change this one to be the label, and it seems you are getting an error. So let me get rid of this constant, and let me add a couple of constants also here. So we now have our label, and let's also change the. So I'm going to get rid of the 90, and what I'll do is I'll bring a curly braces and a dollar sign here. So it will be confidence like this dot to what? To string as fixed, and I'll give it 0. So let me save it, and the app has gone through a hot reload. Let me bring a constant here, and let's check to see if the app is working successfully. So let me do a hot reload, and let's try the model once again. So I'll pick the image from gallery. Yes, and we have the smoothie muddy. We still have the two. It's just because we need to close we need to stop the whole app and run it once again, which we'll do in just a second. But let's fix all these warnings. I guess I have another warning here which also require a constant, and I'll leave these ones too. I'll leave these ones. Let's do it for the camera. So what I'll do is I'll copy this whole pick image from the gallery thing, this whole function. I'll copy it, and I'll make a duplicate of it. So I'll change this image source to what? Camera, like this. Let me change the gallery to also camera. So I'll copy it. So we are not supposed to do any heavy changes here. This is the only change that we have to do. And let's pass it for pick image from the camera too as well. So let's stop the app and let's launch it once again. So we have now launched the app once again. So let's first check from the camera and see. Yeah, so as you can see, I now have my camera open. So if like I was supposed to take an image of a mango leaf, this will be very easy for me. But I'm not going to take any image. I'm going to stop the camera and we'll pick an image from the gallery. So let's pick this one. It's healthy and the accuracy is 100%. We multiplied it by 100 just to get it in a percentage format. So this one is between 1 and 0, and we want to get it to be in between 0 and 100, right? So yes, this is how you can create an image classification app using Teachable Machine, Flutter TF Lite, and Image Picker. As usual, I always show you where you can get all the information from. I made use of Flutter TF Lite, as you can see here, and we made use of the image picker too as well. So as you can see it here too as well. So make sure to do research about these two packages and the teachable machine too as well. So this was the teachable machine that we used. Lastly, let's test the app once again, and let me pass in this one too. So yeah, we have the gal mage. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.